In this video, I'm going to walk you through my new custom GPT that I'm using on my development project, RVat Olympic. It's an invoice manager that allows me to quickly manage a large volume of invoices and just bill pay in general. So I'll walk you through how it works, and then I'll walk you through how you can build your own. So stick around. All right, I'm excited to share a new custom GPT that I built that I'm actually using in real life to help me manage the RVat Olympic development project, which I've shared with a lot of our readers. And I'll continue to provide updates on that project as we go forward. One of the benefits of ChatGPT, if you know how to use it, is it can help with a lot of repetitive, monotonous tasks. And when you're doing development, there's a lot of these tasks that come up. One of which is you're constantly getting invoices from subcontractors, and they need to be processed, they need to be organized, they need to be paid. And in addition to just doing that, there's a lot of sort of tedious back-end things that need to be done. Everything from taking an invoice and just doing the data entry of the invoice into whatever tool you're using to track all your invoices. So I've created this custom GPT. I'll show you how it works, and then we will discuss, and I'll walk you through how I built it so that you can then build your own. So this could be good practice for anyone. If you're actually working on a development project now, this could be helpful, or it could give you ideas for other custom GPTs that will actually help you manage some of your day-to-day tasks. So this custom GPT was actually prompted by Spencer's recent post, which he walked through a brief scenario of how you could connect a custom GPT to Google Sheets. And to me, there was just a ton of light bulb moments. I literally have a list of a bunch of custom GPTs I'm going to create now, because if I'm not using Excel, I can use Google Sheets to manage a lot of these mundane tasks. So what I've done is I've created this fictitious invoice tracker, and it looks identical to what we're using for our project. So we have a bunch of folders where all the invoices live. And, every week or so, usually every 2 weeks, Kyle and I will go in and we'll go through, we'll make sure we have everything in order, we'll transfer funds, and then we'll get these paid. So let me first walk you through some of the things we do and what I tried to solve for so we can make these processes easier. So one of the things is we had to input manually all the invoices that would come in during the week and make sure we kept track of them. So it's just a tedious process. It takes time. We're a small team, so we don't have a lot of admin support. And so it would be myself or Kyle or somebody else that has other things going on that would have to come in and do this. So as an example, here's an invoice. This is a legit invoice. I've just blocked out the subcontractor. And before, we'd have to manually put in everything, just, cell by cell, drop in the relevant details. This is a receipt, so it's not an invoice, but, if we paid something and it didn't get into this tracker, we want to track everything, whether it's paid or unpaid, then we'd have to input this. So rather than do that, now we can simply come to the ChatGPT. I can drop this invoice in and say, please, I could say a lot of different things. As ChatGPT is a language, it understands language and can really just understand what you're saying, get what it needs, and do what's necessary. And I'll walk you through the back end of how that all works too, as we get underway. So please pull out the relevant info from this receipt, and prior to adding to the Google Sheet, please confirm info. Let's hit enter. So I'm going to blur this out. It gave the actual name, so you won't see that, but we can verify through the receipt. And let me reopen it. And this is for you guys, just to kind of see. So invoice number, there's a receipt number, which it won't put in. We don't have a receipt number. And maybe we should add a receipt number into this Google Sheet. The vendor name, which is correct. The amount, we paid it in full, which is correct. The date paid, description, and the bill contact. So all of that's relevant. What's interesting though is that this and this is not an input into our sheet, but let's see what happens. I'm just going to say, looks good, please post. Looks good, please post. Now you'll notice here, it added it. And it had due date, it just put in the date paid, which is fine for this example. So that's one thing it could do. It can now take any invoice. I could put in batch invoices and just say upload all these to the file. And I could do things like this. So on a day that we come in to pay invoices, give me a full list in table form of all unpaid invoices. So it's talking to the script. And then here it'll go and it'll give you all the statuses of unpaid. So we can check. We have ABC, XYZ, best plumbing. Let's see. So ABC, unpaid, XYZ, unpaid. And then best plumbing. So it didn't give us Urban Steelworks, it gave us best plumbing. So now you can kind of see the function. So rather than us, I could say, you know, give us the total amount of, give us the total dollar amount of invoices due this week. There are no invoices due this week, so total dollar amount 0. Okay, so let's see. So this week it's November 3rd, so anything between November 3rd and November 9th, and there is nothing. So let's actually change some of these dates and see what happens. I'll put this one, it's $9,000 unpaid. We'll put this as 11/5/24, and I'll go back. Again, please. So now we'll try it again, and hopefully it should grab that. This week there's one unpaid invoice at $9,000. Here's the details. So, pretty cool. All right, so this is a 1.0 version. There's a lot of things this can do, and I'm still exploring. I just wanted to share this now. And then also show you how I did it, because I think it would be really cool, you know, if this is something you want to utilize, and you could take this to, you know, way beyond what I'm showing here. So this is really just a scratching the surface. And as you guys know, this stuff is changing so rapidly, but probably by the time I put this video out, there'll be a new thing. All right. So I would say step one is really, setting up your Google Sheet, right? Making sure you have the framework in place and that it satisfies everything you need. Likely you have something you've been doing already, and there is some framework set up that you can pull from. That's really step one. Now, step two is, you know, off coding, off modeling or whatever it is. And it's really just thinking, what do you want from this tool? Like, what are the questions it should be able to answer? What's the functionality it should have? And for this example, you know, and I'll walk you through my process. I had 5 bullets that I really wanted this to help me answer. One was calculating total outstanding amounts, listing unpaid or overdue invoices, being able to add new invoices on my behalf, updating paid status, and then retrieving invoices due, whether it was just the total unpaid invoices or that were due within a certain time period. And those were really my key goals. So that's really your first step. Sit down. You could even ask ChatGPT, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to manage my invoices. What are the key functionalities I might need to help me do this? Here's my Google. So you can use ChatGPT for everything in this entire process. I've been doing this for a while. So I had sort of my list in my head. So that's the first step, really create that list. The second is, and actually let me prompt before we go on to the next step, is that you have to understand, and I had to learn this, the difference, what are ChatGPT's limitations? ChatGPT cannot go into a Google Sheet and change things. It doesn't have that type of power. So you really have to create the frameworks and the framework for ChatGPT to function. And so what I mean by that is that there is coding and there is a script you have to write that all the functions you want to automate can automate independently without ChatGPT. So creating, and I'll show you actually real quick. Actually, I have it open. So I come to extensions, I hit app script, and this is my script. And, in my world, it looks a lot like VBA. So you have to create all these functions first that can do things autonomously without you once the function is triggered. Like function get total amount due, and it executes whatever is executing, it can execute it. So ChatGPT can't do any of this. ChatGPT can go in and trigger these functions, and then you can write the script so that it retrieves the right information. So the first 3 steps, creating your Google Sheet, creating your wish list of functionality, and then writing the script is all completely unrelated to ChatGPT. It has nothing to do with it. However, you can use ChatGPT for everything. And I did. I am not a coding expert. I couldn't tell you all the details of what this even says. I just knew how to ask ChatGPT for it. It gave it to me and I knew how to test it. So first and foremost, I shouldn't say first and foremost. Again, you create this framework, you create your wish list, and then you start in here. So I had all these cases that I wanted. And I asked ChatGPT, hey, look, I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to get a total amount due based on, unpaid invoices here in this sheet. Can you write a script that allows me to do that? So it did that. And I also informed it that I'm going to use a CustomGPT for it. So it created the script here. And then it also utilized this do-get function, which is how ChatGPT interacts with the script. So you'll see the get total amount due. Now, I am not an expert in this. I do know enough to know that you need this do-get function for ChatGPT to interact and trigger this function. And so I went step by step through all of these and, get total amount due, get invoices due this week, get overdue invoices and everything I thought I needed, so on and so forth. Now, I created the script, and then before I did anything in ChatGPT, I ran test functions. So, test get unpaid invoices. So you can come up here in this section up here, and one of the things you have to prompt the GPT as well, if you're not writing the code on your own, is to create test scripts. And you'll note, for example, test get paid invoices, right? So let me scroll down here. So you'll see test add invoice line, right? So I have the function add invoice line and then the test add invoice line. And then here inside here, you can test all this inside the app script. interfaced. So you can put anything you want here, right? So invoice 001, I'll do, and you come in here and you update what's in red. I'll do invoice 100, test vendor X, testing services, amount due, 1,000, unpaid, and we'll put the date as 24. Now I'm going to run this test add invoice. So down here, we'll find a test add invoice and we'll hit run. And then it'll create this execution log and it'll say invoice line added successfully. Now, if it did, I can come over here and you'll see it did it. Invoice 100, test vendor X, testing services 1,000. So you'll see it execute everything perfectly. So once you add everything and test everything first before doing anything in ChatGPT, that's what you need to do first. Once that's confirmed, all your functions are working, then you'll come here to this deploy. You'll hit new deployment. I'm not going to do it for this one because it's live, and you'll hit deploy. And doing a brief cut in the video here because it's been multiple days since I deployed the first time. And so there is something unique that I didn't cover in the original video. So I'll do it right here quickly. So when you come up to deploy, and this is just a blank, I just created a new Google Sheet and I'm about to deploy this for the first time. So you'll click new deployment. And then in select type, you're going to come here and you're going to click web app for the first time. You'll click deploy. And it'll take a minute. And sometimes what'll happen is it'll ask you to sign in and then there'll be like an error message or something, or it's like an untrusted app or something. You'll click on advanced and just allow the app to be deployed and that it's trusted. And then what happens when you hit deploy, I'm coming to manage deployments. It'll show you your deployment ID, and then your web app. And you'll use this web app link to update for ChatGPT. And we'll get into that in a minute. All right. So you'll notice I have my spreadsheet ID. You'll put your own spreadsheet ID and you'll see here. This is your ID. It's between the D and / and then the / and the edit. That's where your custom ID will be. And let me see it. And then there's another spot here, I believe. Okay, so I think, yeah, so you're going to put your ID in the script so that the script knows where to go, where your specific Google Sheet is. All right, so that's everything. Again, utilize ChatGPT fully, and the better you can be clear about what your needs are, the better the script will be. And if you get errors, you just work it out and have a conversation with ChatGPT, and it'll work. All right, so once you have your total script, and again, if you're watching a video, if you go to adventuresinCRE.com, if you click on the link below, you'll see I have copied all the scripts into that post, and you can actually post exactly what I have in here. The only thing is you'll need to update this section with your own Google Sheet. All right, so once you've done your script, you've tested it, you've deployed it, now you'll come in to your CustomGPT section. And so when you're in CustomGPTs, you'll click on My GPTs. You'll create a new one, but I'm going to just show you mine. So we'll come into Edit GPT. And the first thing you'll do is configure. Now, I prompted ChatGPT. I gave it mine. So in ChatGPT, I gave it my script. And I said, I'm creating a custom ChatGPT to execute on this script with Google Sheets. And I said, so with that, please fill out all of this information, which it did. And then I came down here, and here's a really important thing. You go to actions and you'll create a new action. So now with the action, you have to create this schema. Now, I got a ton of errors on creating this schema. It was a constant back and forth with ChatGPT, and why am I getting an error? And I utilized, so eventually what came down to is ChatGPT started going line by line. And so every line, I drop the code into here, this YAMLlint.com website. And this is a website that'll verify whether your code will work or not. Or if there's an error, it'll tell you what the error is. So I would go back and forth. So you'll see, I'll drop this code. It should say that it works. Valid YAML. So before it would not. And I'd constantly go back and forth till finally I got this thing working. And so you can go back and forth with here, and then Swagger Editor somewhere where you can actually drop it in and see what would come out here on this interface. So once you get that done, there's no errors. You come back in and you can simply test your, now we know that this works because I was just doing it earlier. You'll come here and you'll test some of the things you want to see, make sure it all works. Once you're done, here it says update, but you'll click create. And then you're pretty much done. Let me just check if I'm missing anything, but I think that is it. Now you can go, again, you can go to our website. There's a link below, and you can take all the info I have here, and just create your own and then utilize it. But there's also, you can also do whatever you want. There's infinite ways you can utilize this. But I think that is everything. So I hope this is helpful. And, you could use, the next thing I'm going to do is create we have a massive to-do list. And I'm going to have a custom GPT that utilizes that to create our agendas for our weekly meetings and things like that. There's endless opportunity here. So yeah, that's it. Read the post, go step by step, create your own, and I hope it's helpful.